Hey everybody, Matt the Garden Guy here. We're going to be working on our tomatoes. First of all, let's go ahead and get these arm sleeves on my arms because, well, I really don't want them to be all ripped up. Get those on, get my gloves on, and, well, drink some coffee really quick, and then we are off to work. Well, first of all, we're going to go ahead and just start lopping off the tops of these. I'm going to do that so they stop growing really tall. Start working on the ones that are going off to the sides as well. And the ones I have right here are my cherry tomatoes, and I'm getting those out of my kids' sandbox because it's getting in their way. So I'm just going to go ahead and chop these ones coming off to the side, cleaning them up. And you know what? Sometimes you just got to make sacrifices. And that's what we're doing right now. So I'm also evaluating what I have, just looking over everything and just trimming what I need to. And as you can see there in the back, I got a little bit more I need to get, so I'm going to go ahead and just chop those off. And I'm just doing that so they stop growing really tall. And there you go. And now I'm just going to move to the other side and start working over there. So I'm on the other side. As I'm looking, I got a bunch of these tomatoes on the bottom. I'm just going to go in and get those out. So here we go. I'm back in it. And here, I'm just getting some of them that are off on the side, any of them that are broken, and take a look at this really quick. And this is why I'm pruning, because we had missed all of these amazing tomatoes. And with all that overgrowth, we just missed them. So here we go. We can do something else. Oh man, let me bring that back here. Whoop. All right, we're gonna go ahead and chop this one off. And these, yeah buddy, vine ripe tomatoes, premium. And as you probably guessed it, you've seen a lot of my videos, that noisy cart means it's time to feed the compost bin. Alrighty, so now that we have the smaller tomatoes done, we gotta hit these big guys here. Just gotta do a little bit of a pruning on them as well. Alright, so come with me right down here. I'll show you something that I'm gonna be getting out of the way. Alrighty, so as we're inside here, this is our pink tomato plant. Look at all of these not so healthy looking leaves here. We're gonna get these off, and we're also gonna get it so we can get a little bit more airflow. So I'll show you what I do. I'm taking that one off because that one used to have tomatoes on it. See right there, that was kind of what was holding it on. And just sitting there, taking energy away from the plant. So we're gonna get that out of the way too. I got a good amount here on the bottom cleaned out. I'm gonna go up to the top just a little bit. It's gonna be a little bit more difficult up here at the top because I have more of these tomatoes going right now. So I wanna kind of be careful not to hit those. And you see, I got some other tomato plants coming into this one. So these plants got really tall. And my cages, you see, really aren't that big. So I've done big cages and the tomatoes don't grow that big. And I've done these cages. Well, guess what? The tomatoes got too big. So just gonna deal with it and just work through it. So just want to do a little bit more pruning on here, trying not to disturb any of the existing tomatoes. I might go ahead and lop some of these tops off so they don't keep growing up anymore, and just start filling in the bottoms here. I don't know yet if I'm going to do that. So I'm just going to just keep getting in here and getting these tomatoes all cleaned up. As you can see, this really big stalk coming in. So I want to try not to disrupt that. So it's got some really nice, awesome tomatoes on there. So before I continue to go off choppy, I'm going to put my choppies away. I want to try to just investigate and see where everything is going right now. So it looks like this big one is coming from the plant right next to it. And it has a lot of tomatoes on it. So I don't really know what I want to do yet, because I really don't want to break this guy. I'm just going to put it over to that side right now. Yeah, looked like that big vine that was coming over was all from this other tomato plant right over here. And that's another one of those pink tomatoes, I think. Yeah, because my reds are in the back. I have my pink tomatoes, and I have my Roma tomatoes right here. So I'm just going to continue to clean up this one plant, and then we will see how it goes. Well, there you go. I think I'm pretty happy with this one plant. I do want to turn my attention to these other big one right there. And that one's going to be very difficult to get to, or to kind of work on, because it's got a boatload of tomatoes. And I really don't want to break them. So as much as I want to touch them, I might just leave it. So let me assess that, and then we'll come in and we'll show you what we're going to do. Alrighty, so I have a plan here, and it's going to require me to sacrifice another plant, but it's not doing the greatest. And I have the same plant in the hoop house, got multiple of them, and they're thriving. And that here is one of my green pepper plants. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this guy out. I'm gonna move the cage a little bit closer, and then I'm just gonna let it lay on top of the cage. All right, so right here, I'm gonna go ahead and just pull this cage out. It smells so good with this basil right next to it. The basil leaves just came off. Oh, that smells good. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and rip that plant out. That was a pepper plant. It was growing really good at the beginning of the year, and it just stopped producing. So I'm just gonna go ahead and compost that plant. I have an irrigation right there. I'm gonna make sure I turn that guy off. Just gonna go in and just twist it. Put it over there for now. And I think, yeah, I'm gonna put that cage right here and put those vines right on top of it. We'll see how it looks. There we go. I think that's a lot better. So I'm gonna do one more thing. I'm gonna go get a stake and put it in there. You see I have these right here. These cages were falling over. So I have one over there. I'm just gonna go grab that and throw that in here. Right over here. I'll put it right over there. I'm gonna interlace it in between. So I have it going on the inside, outside, and inside going into the ground to help support this a little bit more. There we go. Now we can lay this guy right on top of it. Very gentle. I'm so scared I don't want to break this guy. There we go. Try to get some of these other ones over here. Man, this thing is huge. Part of it kind of bent a little bit, but I think it'll be fine. Man, this is pretty crazy here. I got this one going on top of this one. This one's bending. I want to try to get it away a little bit. So just lost 2 tomatoes. And this whole branch is breaking off. I don't think it's because I was moving it. I mean, it was pretty bent over to begin with. But I did lose a couple tomatoes. These guys right here. We don't really eat green tomatoes here, so I don't know what we're gonna do with them. Well, you got that one moved back over. It did right there. It did split a little bit. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet, but I'm gonna trim the big branch up. So it's got a lot of extra leaves coming off of it, and I just want to clean it up a little bit. I'm just gonna cut it right off. You can kind of see, maybe not, but there's some frails of it coming off. They're not fresh, so I know it's not one that I did. But one thing I learned with pruning your tomatoes, sometimes it just happens, and don't worry about it. You see, I prune my tomato plants a couple times a year, and they're thriving. So some of them will die, but they'll come back. Again, when I prune my tomato plants, my biggest goal is for airflow. Because if airflow can go through it, then I know that I can see the tomato as well, and I can get them before they over ripen or pests get to them. So that's why I do take sometimes some really large leaves and vines off. That's just what I do. Again, my biggest goal is for airflow. Been away from vacation for a while. My dog just came home. I just want to go say hi to her. We'll be back. Alrighty, back. Yeah, as I said, just got back home from our vacation. Just picked up the dog from mother-in-law's house, and she saw me and started freaking out. So get back in here and just finish pruning up this tomato plant as best as I can without hopefully breaking anything. Focusing on airflow. And getting anything that is broken. So that leaf, I don't know what you call it, leaf, vine, whatever, was kind of bent over. So I went and just cut that guy off. It wasn't just like limped over, it was completely snapped in half. So looking for all the damaged stuff in here too while we're pruning. So yeah, see right there, that guy was all just dead. So I always tell everybody, I prune the tomatoes just like I prune my fruit trees. So anything that's growing in towards the middle, anything that is damaged, and I went ahead and just chopped the top of that one right off because I don't really want that vine growing up anymore, because you could tell my support is not the greatest. So it'll be fine. I got one more big vine growing that way. I have another pepper plant right there that's not producing. So I think I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna go ahead and pull that pepper plant out. And that big vine that's going that way, I'll show you it. I think I'm gonna lay it on top of that cage. And actually this pepper plant is doing pretty good. So I'm gonna go ahead and transplant this into the hoop house. All right, got that in there. We'll see. I think it'll be fine in there. It might die back a little bit, but there's a lot of good nutrients inside the hoop house and things grow awesome in there. So we'll see what comes back. So I got the cage right here. I'm gonna go in and try to lift this. We're just gonna call it a vine for now. This guy, look how big that is. You really can't, let's show you. Look how big that is right there. I'm just gonna lay it right on top. There you go. So it just freed up a lot of room right there, a lot of room for airflow. Put it right on top right there. Go There's nothing on the bottom, so we'll let air come up and feed right through it. I think we're good with that. I'll come back to that one. I want to go over here. Just pay some attention to those ones there in the back. Alrighty, well, we'll see how long we stay out here for. So we got maybe some more rain coming in. So we're gonna try to do our best to get this plant right here a little bit of a haircut. So this is a purple Cherokee tomato plant. And they do splice a lot like that down the middle. Anybody out there growing Cherokee tomatoes? Let me know what I'm doing wrong. I've grown these a couple times. They keep doing that, and maybe that's normal, but I don't know. But this branch, vine, whatever we're gonna call it. Oh man, that sun is coming out now. Is bending, so I don't know yet what I'm gonna do about that guy. I think it's doing pretty good. I think we might just look at some of the vines and which way they're going and see if we gotta do any support. I think they're pretty good. I think it has pretty good airflow. I got those vines, those big guys right here. Got those big guys off of this, off the top of this. So I definitely think that's gonna help out. So next one we're gonna tackle is our beefsteak. And then we're gonna take a look at our 2 Roma tomatoes down there. So the same thing like everything else. I'm gonna go in here and just clean this guy up. So it looks like this one isn't a plant that's really going to be growing high. So I think for the most part on this tomato plant, I'm just going to go for the airflow. So I have good airflow that goes right through it. I don't really think there's much I really need to do for this plant. Might just cut away a couple of these leaves. Again, I'm looking for the diseased or damaged ones. Don't want any of the energy of the plant any more to that. Gonna get the little vines that we're holding the tomatoes on. Go ahead and cut those off. I'm gonna go ahead and cut a tomato. Starting to split really bad here, and ultimately gonna end up just rotting out. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut that guy off. All right, so we're gonna go jump in here really quick. So I have this vine right here. Nothing's growing on this guy anymore. It's splitting down here. So I'm gonna go ahead and just cut this right off. I'm gonna remove my support to hold this guy up. So I'm gonna go in and just take this off. I'm gonna save this. And I'm gonna triple check, make sure there's nothing on this one. There isn't. I'm gonna go ahead and just grab it. Cut it right there. Now that requires 2 hands, so go ahead and put the phone down. Grab this. Here we go. And now I'm not gonna make it super tight. So, not super tight. Not that tight at all. I might have to redo it. But I want it to be super tight because I want to make sure this can still move and grow. And there we go. Just re-secured it. Nice and good. I like it. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Roma tomatoes. Alrighty, well the sun decided to come out right behind me, which is going to might make it a little bit hard for you to see, but I don't think there's that much we're gonna do on this plant at all. It's gonna be just like the tomato plant that we just touched right there. We're just gonna go after airflow right now. This isn't a real viney reach for the sky plant, so there's not that much lopping off I need to do. I'm just gonna go ahead and just clean it up again so we can see inside of it and for some airflow. Nah, really not that much. Just cut off a couple of them. So. Get it in there. Alrighty, so so that was me pruning my tomatoes. We got our cherry tomatoes. We got our big tomato patch right here, all pruned up. And gonna do a little bit more work here in the garden today, but that is another episode of me pruning my tomatoes. Just the way I do it. I've been doing it this way for several years. Some of the techniques that I'm doing might be incorrect, or some people might have an opinion and do it a different way. Let me know down below. I'm always wanting to learn. I'm always wanting to help people share different techniques that are out there. So yeah, appreciate everybody supporting me in my gardening community. If you can, or if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Appreciate you. Give it a thumbs up. If you want to, just go ahead and give a share out to your friends that might be growing tomatoes. Maybe we can help them continue to grow the food that they eat. Talk to you later, and keep growing.